Hello. I'm recording from my phone. But this is highly intended to record the start of my journey and what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, because now I have a strong why. But I am restarting my whole system. Even though, I've done this before and was successful with, changing my diet before, but unfortunately some life happened and I went straight back to old habits and it was hard to get away from. So I wanted to, share, what I've learned so far as I'm going through this, and share the action that I'm taking just for those who really struggle with direction. That's one thing. When I don't have direction for a while, I'll just be sitting in the pattern like don't. But as I was just saying, because I record a lot on YouTube, not on YouTube, on Instagram as well. As I was just saying though before, sometimes we really have to drown in our really bad habits to really see the effects it has on us and get scared of them. Because I knew from when I first started going back into my bad habit, I knew it was a bad habit. But the symptoms it led to when I was eating, because before 2016 I came out, a friend really helped me understand that I wanted to get rid of gluten in my diet, and it really helped me keep a hold on my body weight and like my thyroid. It was a great balance. Like you could see it in my face, everything looked great. And then life happened and then I crashed, and I had that diet going for about 2 years really well. But again, knowing I had those bad habits, it was still hard to leave them, because I was just like, I know I have this, but I don't know why I should stop, even though I know it's bad. But as the symptoms started getting worse, symptoms like, it's not just gluten, it's also sugar for me. Symptoms such as like sleep apnea, because I also was drinking and smoking heavy, and I feel like my body is just very sensitive. So I smoked and I feel like also it's because we're in quarantine. Sometimes I get bored, and a bad habit I used to have in high school, I used to smoke Black and Mild, and I do have a friend that smokes cigarettes. I don't buy cigarettes, but I do sometimes I be jacking cigarettes off people. I'm like, I ain't ever buying these, but let me get one of yours. Which, is just as bad. But during this time of quarantine, everything doubled up, because I feel like you start really getting into things when you are bored. So I'm really grateful that quarantine is happening, because without quarantine, I wouldn't be able to observe the things going on with my body and really sit with what I need to let go of through the things I was getting frustrated at. Like I was getting so frustrated at how I was eating, but I was just like, I don't know. And then slowly, one thing after another, I was kind of like, man, why am I so tired? Why isn't this? Oh, I've been eating a lot of gluten. I've been just storing, I just been stuffing these cheeks with gluten, and that's not the answer. No, boo-boo. And on top of that, a lot of people don't understand that with gluten comes sugar. So I've really been seeing my symptoms grow 10 times worse than what they were the first time I had to cut gluten out of my life. And now I have to be very proactive in cutting not only just gluten products, but sugar products as well. Like Rice Krispie treats, it doesn't have like gluten in it, but it is a highly sugary, food, processed food at that. But I noticed, because earlier, it's just crazy how things just end up aligning and kind of just connecting, not kind of, ultimately connecting. And, I've been really been calling my angels, my ancestors, and the universe to really help me out of this, because I was tired of it, but I didn't know how to get out. I was stuck in the cycle. So I started hearing a lot of inner voices. Like today, I didn't eat any gluten products. Also, another thing that I was doing, because I feel like I'm a very experimental person, to turn things into a practical thing. I'm a very practical person. So I normally in the morning get up, smack my chest. I'm just kidding, I don't do all that. But I wake up, I make a tea. I just started taking maca for hormone balancing, because unfortunately when you have gluten intolerance and you've been eating too much, it can throw your hormones off balance. And how I knew, there's a lot of fatigue, just a lot of other symptoms that, So I started taking maca. I take maca tea. I take my supplements. I just started taking kratom as well. So I woke up this morning, took that first, didn't eat shit, didn't eat nothing. And that was a very bad idea. Because after, I felt so sick, bro. I was disgusted at myself with how sick I felt. So then, in the day before too, I made non-gluten food and I felt fine. So then I was like, okay, everything's good. Even though I felt back better after I felt very nauseous and sick because I had to cook or whatever. So then I was cool. Then I was like, I'm really craving some sugar, which is the sign of slow your ass down. Sugar's a poison. It's poisoning you. But I wasn't hearing that. I was like, sugar, Rice Krispie treat. Where you at, bitch? Where you at? Where you at, Rice Krispie? And then so I went up in the cabinet, got me a Rice Krispie treat. Ate the Rice Krispie treat. And you know what? I felt sick again. You see, like, you can literally, you can see what's going on with my body through my face alone. Like, I've never had such dark marks, and that was one of the biggest things that stood out to me. I was just like, why do I look so like tired? Like, what's wrong? My skin looks poor, everything. So I felt sick. I felt really hot. Like, I kept getting a fever. My muscles were tight in the back. And I was just like, where is this coming from? Like, I had a hot flash, felt nauseous. And then I was like, it could be because that's sugar. So that just sat there in my mind. So then, because I'm just trying to work on just aligning my life and really focus on being a better person for myself. And another thing that I'm learning how to implement, side note, is how to prioritize and start my habits, even if it's by mini habiting, which is like doing something you want to do for like 2 minutes, which I learned off YouTube. Really cool. So after I felt sick, I was like, you know what? I'm about to get up. I'm about to dance, because I had this like sugar high, dancing, sweating or whatever, which was great. And then naturally, I got on Medium, which is that article app that just brings you to a lot of different articles, and that app is aligned with me. A lot of the things are aligned with you. They got messages for you, and I was like, let me go on here. So I received a message about, first off, like being so unapologetic about being the person who cares more, because I just kind of like broke off a fling that I had, and I feel like I always am the one that cares more. And I read that awesome article. It was great. And then I was like, I want to look up something about gluten, because today was a day I was like, you know what? I'm about to pay for this goddamn hydrotherapeutic colonic so I can cleanse myself and my stomach, get everything out, help these parasites find their way out. And I'm going to do this. So I'm going to keep looking up, because I finally found a plan. Even though I'm, been looking or whatever, I just know that the universe and my angels really had a message for me by in my head being like, hey, look up some gluten. Look up something about gluten intolerance. So I did. And I found this article that was like, am I gluten intolerant? And then the subtitle was like, I thought I was gluten intolerant, but it turned out to be something else. So the article starts off with symptoms that I was showing, I am showing now. And this is like me, like at the worst, like literally reptar face, headaches, feeling fatigued, not being able to sleep, not being able to focus, just everything feeling off, irritable. Well, my memory hasn't been as bad because I've been taking other supplements, but before I took supplements, even like 2-3 years ago, you can ask my friends, they would always be like, hey, you remember when we did this last week? No, my memory is gone, so bad memory loss, just like other disorders. Like I've had this thing since I was in the 7th grade where if I don't take an antihistamine, which heavily has to do with your autoimmune system, if I don't take an antihistamine, I just start itching everywhere and I get welts and they come up and then they go away after 10 minutes, but it can be nonstop if I don't take that antihistamine. So he goes through the symptoms and talked about his journey with the gluten intolerance, but then said, I still was having certain symptoms, even though I dropped gluten and it helped 75%, I was still having those symptoms. And so I was like, I bet you he has something with sugar. So sooner or later, he says, none of the doctors called this. He was like, there's no actual allergy towards sugar, but he called it himself glycemia, which I get it. And I 100% believe that that's exactly what I'm experiencing. I feel like anything you overdo, you'll eventually reject. Your body will start rejecting it because it's like, we don't need no more of this. We dying. And that's how I feel. So I literally just read that article. I packed up all this stuff. I'm restarting a health journey. And I'm committed to myself, but all that to say that it wasn't easy to come to dropping this habit without having a true internal motivation. Not just because I want my body to be banging, not just because, it was literally because I'm suffering. I can't sleep. I don't have energy during the day. I can't breathe when I'm going to sleep. I kept waking up every 10 minutes after falling asleep because I'm like, damn, So I just wanted to really talk about that. And I'm haven't started my YouTube, haven't been really heavy into my YouTube journey, but I will attach that article down below that talks about glycemia. If you're having any symptoms of that, I'm just going to leave you with knowing that you aren't ever alone in any part of your journey. There's always somebody who's experienced that. That's the point of relationships. I highly encourage you to seek out people who are going through something similar that you really want to leave, so that it can help move you to something else, because we do need other people. Have a beautiful, great, amazing night. Much love. You are loved. Bye, bro.